Hey guys! So it is Michelle here, in-house copywriter at Market Like a Nerd, to give you some awesome tips today on the anatomy of good Facebook ad copy. So thanks for joining me today. If you missed yesterday, we talked about headlines, and so today I want to talk to you about the body of the copy and how to really get the most bang for your buck when you're paying for traffic. So the one thing that I want you to think about when it comes to Facebook ads is think about your prospect. So what is your ideal client looking for? Usually they're looking for one of two things. They're looking to either do something or to not do something. So for example, the not do something might fall more in line with like a service provider in your industry. You know, maybe your ideal client doesn't want to do their own finances, maybe they don't want to design their own website, maybe they don't want to write their own copy, or they don't want to handle any of the tech, right? So that would cover graphic designers, copywriters, anybody in the financial, bookkeeper, accounting, that sort of thing. And then if your ideal client wants to do something, maybe they want to lose weight, maybe they want to heal their relationship, maybe they want to focus on personal development, and maybe you are a business coach or a life coach or a health coach or a consultant or something more along those lines where you kind of guide your client, or maybe you even have a course in place that will help your client to do something. So definitely keep both of those in mind. What is the reason your ideal client, what are they looking for? Is it to do something or is it not to do something? Because that's super important when you are writing the copy. For example, if they're looking to do something, you really want to make that about the results that they're looking for and the struggle that they're currently in. And likewise, if you are focusing an ad on something to help your ideal client not do something, if you're a service provider, you would really talk more about what does it mean if they didn't have this on their plate anymore, if they didn't have to worry about doing their finances, or if they didn't have to worry about trying to learn a design software and figure out how to update their website on their own, things like that. So definitely keep in mind what the focus of the ad is. Is it to do something or is it to avoid something? And then what you want a hook, also an angle. And what I like to do is I create variations. So I will do and the best way to come up with the hook actually is to really think about your ideal client, your prospect. What are they wanting, and what are they currently dealing with, right? So really put yourself in their shoes, think about that process, and come up with about like 5 to 6 hooks, and that are separated, and then this way you can write your ad copy in each category. And then what I also like to do is I like to have another ad copy that kind of encompasses all of those hooks for testing. So it's good to see. And then you can kind of see what people are biting on, what's their biggest problem. And that would help you get the winning ad, to see what it is, what's that hook that's really going to grab the attention of your ideal client and get them to click and follow through with your funnel. So, for example, when it comes to the hooks, that can look like so many different things. And what I like to do to make it so that you're not speaking at them, again, which I mentioned yesterday, and it's less of this, you can get XYZ sort of thing. Refer to it like with a story. So whether it's your story or it's a client's story, or if it has to have some type of proof in there, right? So you want a good solid hook and you want some proof to back you up. That is definitely important. You also want a call to action towards the bottom of your ad copy. So you just kind of remind them. So to walk you through the anatomy of it, the first line is usually always very attention grabbing. You want to grab their attention immediately. Sometimes, like even when I'm drafting copy, I rearrange it after. Like if I'm just like drafting and I go back and I'm like, that would make a much better first line. It's more attention grabbing, and I'll plop it in the top. So when you draft, you can always go back and edit. So when you're working on your copy, the first line should be super attention grabbing. honestly, I like to mention my ideal client in a way, not necessarily obviously by name, but what they're doing, so, and it doesn't have to always be like, this is for health coaches, or this is for business coaches, or, attention business coaches. It doesn't always have to be that way. It can kind of, you can reel them in by saying like, yesterday I was talking to a business coach, and then you kind of go into the flow of the story. So immediately they see that, it's just an identifier, like, oh, that's me, in the first line. And then you kind of go into the story of it. And you really do want to make it more about a story, not necessarily like an open book story, but, something along the lines of, yesterday I was talking to this business coach and she was really struggling in her business. So you see how I'm talking right there. I'm not saying, are you a business coach? Are you struggling in your business? Facebook doesn't really like that. So you want to make it a little craftier, speak on the opposite end of that. So yesterday I was talking to a business coach. She told me about her 3 top struggles. And these just so happen to be your ideal client's 3 top struggles, and so then you would list them. And then you can get into, I had the absolute best solution for her. My latest course just so happens to be about this. You can insert the title. In this course, I focus on the 3 areas to solve those exact 3 problems. This is what I focus on. And then you can go into the proof. This would obviously be a little bit of a longer ad. And then, which we'll talk about in a minute, and, then you could get into the proof, just like so-and-so who took my course and they experienced this result. So whatever that looks like, maybe you were helping them make money, maybe you were helping them hire a team, whatever it is. And then you get into the call to action. So, this would be perfect for any business coach, because that's what we're talking about, to experience these results, list them again. So, if this speaks to you, or click here to learn more, and then this way, and have the link there again. So this way you've walked them through the entire step and you've done it in a way that's not directly speaking at them. Like, I can help you with this, like you're standing there holding a sign, because that's not really attention grabbing, and Facebook really doesn't love that. So the ads that perform the best are the ones that kind of like fish people in, and you're pulling them in with a story. Sometimes you could do just case study ads. And those are great also. So it's great to have the solid anatomy of an attention grabbing, first line, the hook. It's great if it's laser specific on, each ad, and then you could also do a multi-variation. And then, get into what's their problem, how you help them solve it, and the way that I explained to, and then a call to action at the bottom. And that's really a solid ad. Those are the ads that do the best. But the most important thing too that I want to touch on is that it needs to be congruent. It needs to be in alignment with your visuals, so your image and your headline copy. You want everything to be very consistent. You don't want the image to not associate with the copy. Then it kind of gets confusing and people are like, what am I reading and what am I looking at, right? So then it's more of a distraction. They're going to click off. They're not even going to click whatever it is. So that's my suggestions for that. Make sure that you have also a solid call to action at the bottom. If it's a webinar, you want to make sure you're telling them to come save your seat now, hurry, seats are limited. If it's educational, you want to tell them to learn more, to come check it out, things like that, download whatever it is, if it's a free ebook, all those types of things. So that's my take on creating some really good solid Facebook ad copy. Again, I also like to play on emotions a lot, and not so much of just the exact struggle of the ideal client, but how it makes them feel. Because, that saying that goes is people will always, they'll forget what you tell them, but they'll never forget how it made them feel. So I always try to go back to that. I paraphrase that, so excuse me if I'm a little wrong, but I always think that people always remember how it makes them feel. So it's not so much as effective to just say, oh, it's going to save you time. But what does that actually look like? What does that actually represent in their life? Maybe that gives them more time with their kids. Maybe it gives them more, self-care time, like those types of things. So you want to, and how does that make them feel if they were to have that? So those are the results that you're really speaking to, no matter what you're selling, how it makes your ideal client feel and how they're feeling right now. So definitely, write your copy that way. So if you're looking for extra support, if you're looking to take this off your plate, if you don't want to do your own Facebook ads, that's what Market Like a Nerd is here for. So I will drop the link at the end of this live, and you can come and check out our Done For You traffic service. And, we are an educated, experienced, and dedicated team, and you will not have to worry about your Facebook ads. Super cool, right? So come check it out. And if you think that that's what you need, you don't want to be writing the copy, you don't want to be worrying about the visuals, you don't want to have to worry about how much the reach is and what the cost per click is and all that kind of stuff. If it's just not where you want to shine in your business, maybe you want to coach more, right? And you don't want to be dealing with all of that kind of stuff. Like, it's time to get a team in place to do it for you. So we are that team. We're solid and we are experienced. So I will drop the link in the comments for you in just a second, and reach out if you have any questions. Hit us up on Facebook Messenger, and I will see you guys on the next live. So have an awesome rest of your day, and thank you so much for joining me.